You know that idea of a growth mindset, right? We all love it. The belief that we can get better, that challenges are actually opportunities, it's super inspiring. But what if I told you that for a whole lot of us, it's just an idea we like, not something we actually live by? Okay, let's really get into this. So I'll ask you straight up, do you have a growth mindset? I bet most of you are nodding your heads right now. But some fascinating new research suggests there's this massive gap between what we say we believe and what we actually do when things get tough. All right, first, just a super quick refresher on the basics from psychologist Carol Dweck. A fixed mindset is basically the belief that your smarts and talents are pretty much set in stone. Success is all about proving how smart you are. But a growth mindset, well, that's where you see failure not as some kind of personal flaw, but as a launch pad for growth. It's about loving the process of learning, not just chasing approval. Okay, so now that we're all on the same page, let's get to the real mystery. A recent study took this whole idea and put it to the test with a bunch of Gen Z students. And what they found? Well, it reveals this deep paradox that probably applies to every single one of us. And this gets us right to the heart of it, this huge, kind of shocking difference between the mindset we claim to have and the one that's actually pulling the strings when we have to make real choices. So get this, when the researchers handed out surveys, the results couldn't have been clearer. The students were all in on growth mindset ideas. I mean, look at this. They strongly agreed that learning something new was way more important than just getting a good grade. Sounds like a textbook growth mindset, right? But that's exactly where the story takes a sharp turn. Because as soon as the researchers stopped asking questions and started watching what the students did, their choices told a completely different story. And this is where the contradiction just smacks you in the face. In 3 different real-world situations, these very same students consistently ran away from a challenge. They picked the easier assignments, they bailed on a tough competition, and they stuck to topics they already knew inside and out instead of trying something new. Their actions were pure 100% fixed mindset. So what in the world is going on here? Well, the researchers basically called it a false growth mindset. It means the students know all the right answers to say. They know it's cool to value learning. But when push comes to shove, that deep-seated desire to look smart and avoid failure, to live up to what everyone expects, is just a much stronger pull. But here's a thought. Maybe the problem isn't just that the mindset is false. Maybe we're missing a deeper piece of the puzzle entirely. There's an old story about 3 workers that illustrates this perfectly, and it gives us a totally new way to think about our own work. So, a traveler comes across 3 people all doing the exact same job. He asks the first one, "What are you doing?" The worker is just exhausted, totally drained, and he replies, "I'm carrying a heavy stone." His entire world is just this one miserable task. Then he asks the second worker the same question. This guy seems completely checked out. He just shrugs and says, "I'm waiting for the day to end, so I can see my family." For him, the work isn't the point at all. It's just something he has to get through. But then he gets to the third worker, and the answer is totally different. This worker looks up with a smile and says, "I am building a divine temple that will remain in history." He's doing the exact same thing as the other 2, but he sees it as part of something huge, something meaningful. You see the difference? This goes way beyond just having a growth mindset. The third worker isn't just okay with a challenge. He has actively, intentionally defined the purpose of what he's doing. He proactively crafted his own meaning. And that idea leads us to this really powerful concept that I think solves our paradox. It's called job crafting, and it's all about giving you the power to redesign your own work from the inside out. So what is job crafting? It's basically the little changes you make to your job to line it up better with your own personal goals, your interests, and what you really care about. It's not about waiting for your boss to make your job better. It's about you taking control. And here's how it works. Job crafting really breaks down into 3 simple parts. First, you can craft your tasks, changing how you do things. Second, you can craft your relationships, changing who you interact with. And third, the most powerful one, you can craft the meaning, changing how you see the purpose of your work, just like that third worker did. But hang on, because this is where it gets really interesting. Just being proactive isn't always a good thing. The research actually shows that our proactivity has 2 sides, a constructive light side and a destructive dark side. This framework here lays it all out perfectly. It all depends on our internal state. Are we acting from a place of confidence and purpose, or from a place of insecurity and fear? That's the fork in the road that decides whether our proactivity helps us or hurts us. Okay, let's start with crafting meaning. The light side is called existential crafting. That's when you're actively trying to find and build your purpose. But the dark side is destructive crafting. That's when you're using mental tricks to actively avoid looking for your purpose, maybe because you're scared of what you'll find or what you won't. Next up, relationships. The light side is supportive crafting, where you build real connections that help everyone grow. The dark side is dependent crafting. This is when you're constantly seeking validation and approval from other people to prop up your own low self-esteem. And finally, let's talk about crafting your tasks. Professional crafting is the light side. This is when you really know your stuff and you use your skills to find better, smarter ways to work. The dark side? That's exhausting crafting. It's when you engage in all this frantic, busy activity, not to get things done, but to hide the fact that you might not know what you're doing. It's all motion, but no real progress. So look at where we are. We started with this simple paradox about growth mindset, and we ended up here with this much richer, deeper understanding of how our own inner world really shapes everything we do. And that brings it all right back to you. It's not just about whether you have a growth mindset or not. It's about the path you are actively choosing to craft every single day. Is it the one driven by purpose and confidence, or the one driven by insecurity and fear? In the end, it really all boils down to this simple but powerful idea. The meaning, the growth, the opportunities, they don't just happen to you. You are the one who creates them.